Institute of Education, University College London. I'm also a full-time lecturer, as he said, at Yokohama City University. I'm also a member of the academic network on global citizenship or global education and learning, known as ANGEL, and then Global Education Network for Europe, known as a GENI, and a member of the Non-Killing Education Research Committee. Before we get started, I want to share with you some facts and figures. We have 57 million children remaining out of school, 61 million children denied an elementary education, 62 million children have had their schooling interrupted by conflict, and 103 million youth worldwide lack basic literacy skills. So we will have 25 million children that will never set foot in the classroom. In order to respond to these issues, the Sustainable Development Goals with 17 objectives or goals, number 4, quality education is what I'm interested in. So then goal number 4 focuses on ensuring inclusive and quality education for all and promotes lifelong learning. Now, within the number 4, we have the Global Education First initiative promoted by UNESCO, made by 3 priority areas: put every child in school, improve quality of learning, and foster global citizenship. So my PhD fits into the 3rd category, which is fostering global citizenship. Implementing principles of global citizenship education into university curricula is my focus. I examined 20 to 25 university global citizenship education programs and courses across Japan, the United States, and Europe. I explore how universities with a stated commitment to GC ensure its implementation within a range of courses and degree programs. And I ask faculties, program chairs, and faculty directors to describe how they are preparing their students to be global citizens. So this is the main focus. Very interesting research so far. I had really good feedback. In terms of literature review, obviously I'm looking into United Nations, GENI, UNESCO, Oxfam, World Survey, Global Competence Certificate, and obviously I'm doing a thorough examination of the literature review. Research questions: how neoliberal, radical, and transformative conceptualizations of global citizenship education reflect within identified universities courses and programs curricula. Second one, what are the distinct pedagogical approaches of GC within identified courses, programs, curricula, according to teachers and program directors. In terms of research methodology, mine is a qualitative comparative case study approach, and will be anticipated by a global survey. I'm working on that. It's nearly ready. At the end of my presentation, I will share with you some handouts, and feel free to fill in if you have the time and if you find it interesting. For this presentation, I'm looking into several models to collect my data, but for this presentation, I will be talking about UNTER's 2004 Global Competency Model and Global Competency Checklist. Here are some of the universities I'm looking into at the moment. This is ongoing in the process. Some of these universities have really interesting global citizenship programs. Feel free at the end of this presentation to get in touch with me if you're interested for your institution to be included in my research. I'll be happy to discuss with you. As you can see, I'm working across United States, UK, and Japan. Here are some examples. Maybe I should cut this side because on this side I'm not seeing properly. So, Sophia University, Graduate School of Global Studies, the course of Democracy and Globalization. Columbia University Teachers College, Global Citizenship Education. In the UK, Teaching and Learning Citizenship and Global Education. So I'm looking into these programs and courses and trying to understand how they implement principles of global citizenship in their courses. Obviously, based on what I just said, it's evident that universities around the world, at least rhetorically, are trying to implement principles of global citizenship within their courses. But this involves 3 main issues. One is complicated policies. For example, many institutions are seeing primarily education as a business or marketing for marketing purposes, especially, but not limited to connected to the concept of global citizenship. The second issue is whether we should adopt a combination of formal and non-formal education. And then there is a third issue, linking programs to the institution's strategic vision. So all of these are quite significant issues in terms of policies. In terms of courses organization, based on the review of literature to date, it seems that most of the GCE, Global Citizenship Education programs, are located in the United States and to a lesser degree in Canada and UK. And we do have gatekeeping mechanisms, and this is connected to the concept of global elite, which I will illustrate later, connected to the neoliberal approach to global citizenship. This means when we're talking about global elites, and this is a dangerous concept in my opinion, for example, we're talking about students that do not have enough money to join study abroad programs or volunteering activities. And so those students who instead have that opportunities are kind of frustrated on one side because they believe that their friends might not be able to also join such programs. So there is a big issue there. And also, based on the issue of global elite, global citizenship might become an identity available to some, but not to others, right? Third issue is having good assessment practices when we're talking about implementing global citizenship within courses and programs. One issue within this area is the resource dependency. So we are doing research to try to satisfy founders, or we are doing research because we are generally trying to share significant findings. This is a question mark. And then a little bit of self-focus with failure in aggregating individual success is also part of the aerial assessment that we are failing to kind of taking seriously at this stage, meaning, okay, I'm going to focus only on my findings. Who cares about other people? I don't need to share my findings with other people. And this is a big issue. So when we fail to share, as we're doing, for example, today, that will limit significantly the overall research on global citizenship in education. Further complicating the programmatic development is the ongoing issue of defining the term GC, and the realization that colleges and universities have developed their own definitions as influenced by either the mission statement, strategic plan, even discussion held around the meeting table, right? Therefore, for what concerns my doctoral research, neoliberal, radical, and transformative are three discourses within I explore the discussion about global citizenship education. So the neoliberal or elitarian approach conceptualized a global citizen as one who is successful participant in a liberal economy driven by capitalism and technology, and it focuses on developing certain global competencies that would enable students to become readily employable in a variety of cultural contexts. GC education framed with this, the neoliberal perspective can perpetuate existing inequalities while encouraging university students to assume that their position is a privilege, is a position of privilege and a natural position of a sign of success. So there is a danger there, and this connects to the concept of global elite that I was mentioning just before. Then we have the second approach, the radical approach, is in a way the opposite of the elitarian approach because presents globalization as an accelerated mode of Western imperialism that uses economic power for domination. This is the radical approach. A global citizen from this viewpoint understands how this system creates poverty and oppresses most of the world's population, and therefore there is a responsibility to challenge state and corporate structures that increase the marginalization of countries in the global south. So this brings all the issue about global north and global south, mission of civilizations, and many other issues. The critique of this approach is that global relations are narrowly dichotomized. There is a much more of complexity around issues on global south and global west, right? It's much more complex. And then we have the transformative approach, which is the one I'm really interested into, and actually I'm looking into a lot of literature on the transformative approach. It understands globalization as a cultural, social, environmental, and political, as well as economic, resulting in new patterns of inclusion and exclusion as well as the erosion of north-south hierarchies. From this angle, a global citizen recognizes himself or himself as intricately connected to people and issues that cross national boundaries. And here another interesting point. From this angle, a global citizen, let's jump on the next one, transform not only the higher education institutions and the systems, but also personal mindsets or cultural mindsets, right? So the focus here in the transformative approach is on self-reflection, awareness, and action, which are all necessary for challenging global power structures, and so it is both a skill set and a mindset. So it starts from within our transformation as faculties, and then it reflects on the students, and it is both a skill set and a mindset. To close, for the transformative approach should emphasize the importance of building relationships at the local and global levels, as well as creating spaces for dialogue and change to engage participants in action based on an understanding of their common humanity and shared concerns. All right? So, in preparing for these presentations and other 3-4 presentations I've been sharing across the States and in the UK from the beginning of this year in regards to the concept of global citizenship, I wanted to make clear in very simple words what is the etymology of cosmopolitanism and global citizenship. It starts with Diogenes when he declares, "I'm a citizen of the world," and he started a mass movement, the cosmopolitans, us, right? A lot of contamination, both culturally and linguistically. And then this influenced the Stoicism, which says that every person belongs to two communities, and here is when we start to see the seeds, right? The local community of their birth and the entire human community, right? The global community. And this influenced Heracles and Stoic cosmopolitans. Individuals should regard themselves as concentric circles, and within these circles, human beings feel a sense of affinity towards others, which the Stoics termed osis, orientation, familiarization. So this is very, very important. If you look at the Heracles circle model of the identity, and the several circles that you can see here, so we have self, our family, fellow citizens, so our community, countrymen, the nation as a whole, but then we have mankind as a whole. So this is where everything starts, the concept of global citizenship. Heracles' circle model of identity suggests that we should regard ourselves as concentric circles. The first one around is the self, next immediate the family, as I said before, extended family, local group, citizens, countrymen, humanity. So what is the global citizen? Cosmos means the entire known world, global. Polites means citizen. Kofi Annan, a 2001 Nobel Peace Prize, says, of course, legally, no one could claim to be a global citizen. But whether we realize it or not, we are all citizens of the globe, and some citizens enjoy a much more privileged position than others. According to Gaudelli, a global citizen is someone who is aware of the wider world, respects and values diversity, understands world affairs, is outraged by social injustice, and acts to challenge injustice, contributes to the community at all levels from the local to the global, and is willing to act to make the world a more sustainable place. So when a learner is global competent, according to Reimers, when positively inclined towards cultural difference, when has an understanding of diverse civilization streams, when has an ability to see differences as opportunities for constructive transactions, when develops an awareness of world history, climate, health, and economics, and when improves capacity to speak, understand, and think in a language other than the first. So here is the global competency model that tries to respond to this question, when a learner is global competent. So Hunter focuses on knowledge, skills, and attitude. You can see in the middle self-awareness, risk-taking, open-mindedness, attentiveness to diversity, and then it goes global awareness, historical perspective, intercultural capability, collaboration across culture. So, a global competent student is someone having an open mind while actively seeking to understand cultural norms and expectations of others, and leveraging this gained knowledge to interact, communicate, and work effectively in diverse environments. So here you can see knowledge, skills, and attitudes. I call it values as well. So how are we going to assess whether our students are global competent or not? I'm not going to go through all of them because we still have only 5 minutes, but I try to assess my students based on the recognition that one's own worldview is not universal, for example, willingness to step outside one's own culture, willingness to take risks in pursuit of personal development, openness to new experiences, including those that could be emotionally challenging, and no judgmental reaction to cultural difference. And then later, if we have time, we can discuss the rest of this. And then I created my own, and I call it Values Plus 5 Global Competency Checklist. So I'm checking my students on their humility to understand cultural differences, sensitivity to scan the differences and similarities and transform the us versus them thinking, intellectual curiosity to show interest about the dynamics of the changing world, agility to be flexible and learn on the fly, transferable skills, communication adaptability, the ability to find new ways to adapt the communication. So this is very important to me, and I hope that my students are progressing well with that. I can see good results. Here there are some training methods and activities are very traditional, but it all depends on how teachers and faculties and program directors are implementing those. But there is not enough time, so we can discuss that later. So what is global citizenship education? It encourages learners to analyze real-life issues transformatively, supports learners to revisit assumptions, focuses on engagement in individual and collective actions to bring about changes, involves multiple stakeholders, including those outside the learning environment and the community and wider society. But the problem is, and I'm going to close soon, the problem is that most institutions are repackaging. So let's not repackage, but then what themes a global competent curriculum should promote? So far, I found 8 responsibilities. Students must understand and accept their obligation to all humanity. Emotional connection. Students must first look inwards and assert a compassion that begin with their local communities and the communities they will interact with. Written reflection. Someone this morning was talking about journals and e-journals for the students to write reflections. I always put forward 4 questions to my students. How should humans act? What's happening in the world? What about the future? What are your dreams? I'm stimulating them to really think to the bigger picture. Then we have number 4, respect. Multicultural respect is a very important element to be included in a global competent curriculum. Civic engagement, global consciousness, active engagement, and study abroad. So these are the 8 elements that I found so far. We have ongoing tensions and issues around GCE, global solidarity versus global competition, reconciling local and global identities and interests, also the role of education in challenging the status quo. But I want to conclude with a quotation from Ban Ki-moon. He is the former United Nations Secretary General. We must foster global citizenship. Education is about more than literacy and numeracy. It's also about citizenry. Education must fully assume its essential role in helping people to forge more just, peaceful, and tolerant societies. Thank you very much.